Super. BS.
Well, we are back from the grave. We've died, we've returned, we've died, we've returned, and then we died again, and we had to restart the whole loop. I am Baby Boy Brank, killing it again. I'm going to stop the whole looping process. I'm going after the visionaries. The final visionary I really need to murder, or the person who's trying to protect the loop. Can you reveal yourself, Loop Protector?
Yeah, I'm Jupe of the loop, and
I don't like Jupe one bit. I don't like Jupe one bit.
In my loop forever.
I'm gonna break the loop, okay?
You can't touch me, man. I'm just protected by 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
I like that. What's 10? 10, 10 what? Like the raccoon?
It's my rating. It's my game rating. You can't touch this. I've just got solid 10s, man.
Dude, you've been breaking that 10 score. We are Super BS, a podcast about video games mostly. Today, we will be discussing Deathloop predominantly. We're also going to talk a lot about Tales of Arise because it's awesome. And I'm sure Juliana, a.k.a. Jank, a.k.a. Jupe, has been playing some trash on his own.
Probably just a lot of trash. It's all trash.
But since we're going to have a loosey-goosey episode, there's really not been a ton of news. So let's get into it. You've got a bone to pick. There's all these 10s that you say are going to protect the loop. And before we get into the gameplay of Deathloop, I picked it up last week. I got some thoughts. What is your thought about the score of Deathloop? Because you obviously got a thought about it.
I don't know, man. Like I haven't played it yet, so I've been relying on your expert review knowledge coming up here. But it seems weird to me that all of these Sony games seem to nail them perfect scores, you know? Like is there something going on here? Is there unbiased reviewing happening, or is it all just biased? You know,
well, dear Jupe, you know there's no such thing as biases in these cultures, okay? Everything's just the truth, and if you don't like it, you better just agree or die,
just
okay?
Agree or die. Just agree or go die. Had Deathloop been exclusively released on Xbox, we wouldn't see these 10s.
I don't know about that. I think you're probably right. The reviews might have been a little bit lower, especially because this is a PS5 console exclusive. It's also launched on PC. It's not coming to PS4, and it probably will be on Game Pass next year. But I've played probably 4 or 5 hours. Actually, I really dig it, but I've been playing some other stuff that I just can't pull myself away from. And it's really good. Like, it is really fun and really neat. I don't think it's a 10. I personally don't like it as much as I enjoyed Prey, which is also an Arcane game. It's closer to like a Dishonored game, and I've never cared for those like I care for Prey. The one thing I will say is, unlike Dishonored, they don't punish you for going in guns blazing, which is beautiful for me because that's me. Why'd you put a picture of me up there? They don't punish you for going in guns blazing. Like, one of the reasons why I've never really gotten deep into Dishonored or Dishonored 2 is because I already know that if you kill a lot of people, you get a bad ending. You really need to like have no deaths to get, like, I forgot how many deaths, but you need like pretty much no deaths to get the perfect ending. This game has nothing like that. You just kind of go through and kill anybody you want, do it stealthy if you want. There's some visionaries you need to approach stealthily, or else they will set off traps or other things.
Do they run from you? Like, I know in certain games when you're trying to kill certain people and it's a game that's like free roam like that, they run from you.
They won't run very far, and visionaries aren't like bosses. They don't like have extra health. They're the same as normal enemies. They have the same rules as normal enemies. So there's a move called Havoc, I want to say it is, and people who are listening to this who have played Deathloop probably are going to hate me right now because I can't remember the name of all the abilities. I think it's Havoc, and you can tie enemies. They had this ability in Dishonored 2. You can tie enemies to each other. So I could shoot Havoc at one enemy and shoot at another. It's a silence style ability, so people don't like get attracted when I shoot at them. And if I kill either one of those enemies, both die. And you can do that to visionaries, to normal enemies, anybody you want. I have another. These slabs are the names of the abilities that you get from the visionaries. You can also get them off of Juliana if you kill her. And she could be a human or a friend or an AI, and you can set that whenever you want in the main menu. I accidentally left it on for all people, and some guy came into that game and worked me, and it was no fun because I didn't know where he was, and he was sniping me across the map because he had obviously played the game a bit. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't suggest playing it with that on unless you just want the worst challenge ever because, well, let's get into the game actually before I get into all these nitty gritties about the tins and stuff because I should just let everybody who's listening know what it is. So you play as Colt. You were, and this is all explained to you extremely quickly. You were originally like the head security guard of the loop. You were the main protector. You end up, for some reason that you don't know, you end up deciding to break the loop, which puts Juliana, your number 2, kind of at your throat. She wants to kill you. Now, you're on this island that the Visionaries created named Black Reef, and what they found is every day, these 8 Visionaries who are all like really self-entitled, self-aggrandizing idiots, and they're brilliant people, but they're just like, they're essentially like TikTok, Instagram leaders or like politicians who think that they're amazing.
Yeah.
You'll get like notes of them. But anyways, they found this island and noticed that there's a loop where they created something too. I don't know too much because I haven't gotten too deep into the lore. But anyways, they're on this island, and unless all 8 of them are killed, the day restarts over and over and over again.
So are you on a constant timer?
No, not at all. So the way the game is broken up into is like you, after a fairly lengthy tutorial, about 2 hours, you start the game the same way most times, which is like you're going to, unless picking up from a mid-run, which is your morning, and you have 4 locations to choose from. And you'll have different notes that you find throughout the map will help you like have hints. So, oh, hey, go here and kill this person. It'll drop objectives if you want.
Okay.
So morning, go to Carl's Bay or this other. You can choose any of the 4 places, and all 4 zones are the same throughout the day, but they look different, have different rooms you can access, they're slightly different in some ways, but they are the same zone. You can learn streets and stuff. Maybe there's a machine gun in the evening that's not there in the morning that's guarding the path, but otherwise you can go down the same path every day. So you get pretty attached to these 4 places. And so you start each session, so morning, noon, afternoon, and evening, with a loadout. You can go to a loadout screen, you can look at your notes, you can decide where you want to go next, and you can put like character traits, I can't remember what they're called, but little perks. You can put them on your character. You can have up to 4 of those equipped. You can put, you can choose up to 3 weapons, and you can have like these little trinkets, character trinkets, and then gun trinkets. You can equip those to guns to make them reload fast or whatever. You can carry up to 3 slabs, and one of the special slabs of the game is Colt slab. So each time period, morning, noon, afternoon, or evening, you get 3 deaths. So you can die 3 times. If you die 3 times, it restarts back to the morning. So you could die 2 times in the morning, then die 2 times in noon, die 2 times at night and afternoon, die 2 times in the evening, and you'll still finish the whole day. But if you die 3 times at any of those specific moments, you have to restart at morning and start the whole day again.
This sounds exhausting.
It does sound exhausting. It's actually really easy, but that's why there's a 2-hour tutorial. Kind of takes you through all of this stuff.
2 hours, dang.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds long. The other game I'm about to talk about, Tales of Arise, essentially had like a 5-hour tutorial, and I'm still learning a lot 9 hours in. So, I mean, 2 hours, yes, it is a long tutorial, but they did need to explain this game to you. And it's not like super hand-holdy. It just shows you like, hey, go here, go there. After the tutorial, they give you the ability to get this item called Residuum. And with Residuum, you can, what's it called? Engraft? No, embed? No, it's not called embed. Anyways, it's essentially you can keep an item permanently, not just from one run to the next always. Or you could sacrifice items to get more Residuum. So say I kill a visionary and I get their slab, which either lets me teleport across the map or go invisible or link enemies together. Unless I infuse it, that's the word. Unless I infuse that slab, I will have to kill them again the next day. Like I'll have to restart the run and kill them again to get that same slab back. Now, the goal of the game is to kill all 8 visionaries in one day. They're not in the same place. So I haven't figured out how to do this, but your goal in the game is to figure out how to get the visionaries to go to the same places so you can kill all 8 of them in a one-day run. And the game helps you do that. It's not like a game where there's like notes and you have to read every note. No, if you click to read a note and back out immediately, which I do a lot because that's how I play a lot of games, it will give you all of the relevant information in just a clickable thing. And if it has a location, it will have that on the map.
Interesting. So can you ever get to the point where you kill one of the visionaries and you can do something and they will stay dead for your next run?
No. You have to kill them all on the same day. So you have 4. So it's essentially like 16 maps. You got 4 maps over 4 time periods. So there's 16 different variations. And there are ways to get them to go to the same area so you can kill. I don't know if you can kill more than 2 or 3 in one place. Maybe there's a way. I really know nothing about the end game other than what I've heard on podcasts. I'm about 4 or 5 hours in. I've killed 2 visionaries. I killed a third on my last run, and then she set off a bomb. I don't want to reveal too much, but I guess I was supposed to go there stealthily, and I just stayed there to see what would happen, and I died because I stayed in the place.
So do you have to kill her in stealth?
I think you either have to kill her in stealth or you have to leave her zone as soon as she dies, because I didn't leave and then I died from the bomb that was set off. Yeah, there's a ton to the game, and it's really good. It's really well made. It's a lot of fun. There's some annoying things I don't love about the DualSense controller. There's probably a way to turn this off. I haven't gone through the way of doing it yet, but Juliana will talk to me through the controller every time period normally. You'll hear her say some quip or whatever, and that's not bad in its own right, but it is really annoying to have a small microphone on your controller shooting out words while you're listening to the sound coming out of your TV. Like I said, I think that's something I can correct or fix. I haven't looked into it yet. I never liked that feature in the PS4 either. The little speakers that are on the controllers.
Yeah, we were kind of bragging about that being a big feature in the new DualSense controller.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I don't notice any other DualSense features. I don't think there are any like rumbles that I've noticed, and there's nothing with the haptic triggers that I've at least noticed. Maybe there's stuff and I'm just not picking up on it. So it feels like it will go very well over to Xbox. Like there's really nothing that makes it feel like it needs to be on PlayStation other than that it was paid for to be exclusive.
Yeah.
That being said, it's a great game. Like I would say if I wasn't so invested in some other games, I would probably announce it like many people and say, it's my favorite game of the year. And if I get back to it ever, which I'm hoping to, and beat it, there's still a chance because it is really well made and it is fun and it is scratching that itch of the immersive sim where you can do kind of whatever you want. The only thing that I'm not huge on that it really wants you to do is it wants you to play stealthy, you can tell. It doesn't give you enough ammo really to go in guns blazing all the time, which is what I generally like to do.
That's what's going to keep me from playing this game. I don't do stealth. Like I try, but I'm just not good at it. I don't have the patience for it.
But I mean, you don't have to play stealthy. That's what I'm saying. Like it wants you to, but it's just requiring me to like be more accurate with my shots, do a few other things. Like you don't have to play stealth. I've yet to really sneak around and do anything. I normally just go in there, guns blazing, shoot a few headshots off, find a few bullets here or there, and then go and repeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say if you are in a gaming drought, which it sure felt like till about 2-3 weeks ago, this is a very fun game to pick up and try. However, if you're not interested in it, I would not. I mean, I can't recommend it at all because it's, if you've got something else that you're like hankering to play, right? Like next or this week, tomorrow. Wow, it's crazy. No reviews are out for it yet. Tomorrow, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits comes out on PS5, and it looked really cool. It's like an indie title, like a bigger budget indie title. If that's what you want to play, just wait for that. It comes out tomorrow, and check to see if that's. But if you're like me, and it's like there's a couple things throughout this year. October's got Metroid, and I don't know, a few other things. Maybe I'll play Diablo 2 Resurrected. I don't think so, unless I'm getting that real hankering for it. It's a great title. It's definitely top 5 of this year. For me even. I don't know if it's number 1, but it's definitely top 5.
On the Brank scale, is it a 10?
No. I would say because it's different, it probably deserves to be higher than Ratchet and Clank would be for like review scores. But Ratchet and Clank is so beautiful too. If I was like, it's hard. They're both, to me, they're both like 8.5 to 9 games. Do you know what I mean? But I'm glad it got a 10, because if it didn't get a 10, well, if it would have got 9s and 10s, I would have got it. But if it didn't get like 10s, I don't know if I would have gone out there if it got like 7s and 8s. Now, I think it's better than a 7 or an 8 game, but if this game came out in 2017, we would not be talking about this at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really neat, and it does something really cool with its time loop, and it essentially acts as like a roguelite that you can do tons of stuff with, but you don't have, it's not the same as a roguelite. You're not losing every time you die. You're not just restarting, like you've got plenty of lives and you're bringing lots of things over and you keep all the information that you found.
Yeah. So I didn't know this, but Kena Bridge of Spirits is a digital only game, it says.
Yeah, it was they kind of showed that off quite a few times last year, actually. I spent a lot of time with it last year. Excuse me. And it comes out tomorrow, which is super strange. And they haven't really, there are no reviews. So a lot of people are worried. There's a Reddit leak, which I think is fake. I don't think it's true because it's a Sony title. I've never seen this low of a score. But it's not Sony. It's developed by Ember Labs. But I just would be amazed if this was the actual rating. But somebody put a leaked image of Kena Bridge of Spirits with a 4 on it from IGN.
Oh, geez. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think that's really faulty. It is just weird to think like you could play Kena Bridge of Spirits in like 20 minutes when we're recording this, which is 9 p.m. Pacific time on Monday night, but you cannot find a review out till tomorrow at about 10 a.m. So there's just always something weird about that. I didn't like that when a lot of companies have done that. It just makes you feel a little bit shady. Like, is it bad? Are you guys hiding this? Why is the review embargo so late?
Like, they know that the game is not good, but they're trying to make some money off of it before that gets out.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's not Deathloop, but if there's other titles that you want to look into, great, like that. But yeah, I would say I like Deathloop more than Ratchet and Clank, and I liked Ratchet and Clank. I thought that was a really fun title. What was the new one called? A Rift Apart. That was
Rift Apart. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a really fun title. I just looking at the two, it's like Ratchet and Clank was prettier and it was fun and it was junk food. But looking back now, outside of the few jokes I had and the fun it was to play, it's like didn't really do much new stuff. Kind of my similar feeling with Death's Door. Like, I love Death's Door. I think it's great. It was in my top 5 for the year. I don't think it will last anymore because it's essentially Hyper Light Drifter, one of my favorite titles from a few years ago, just slightly better looking and with some different features. Yeah. So in some of those ways, that's how I felt about Ratchet and Clank. Whereas Deathloop, I didn't jump on to Dishonored. I'm sure somebody could pick on this and be like, this is just Dishonored instead of an open world, though. You're doing this time loop thing. It's like, or whatever. I feel like Dishonored 2 feels like an open world, but it might be, limited. It might be more linear than I know.
Well, here's the thing about Dishonored. It was a fun game, but it was not like by any stretch of the imagination an amazing game.
Did you play them? I only played a little bit of 1 and more of 2, but not much more.
So I played the first one to completion. I never played 2, but
Game Pass.
Again, it was fun, but it's not something that I look back at and I'm like, you know what? I would love to revisit the world of Dishonored.
Yeah. So if that's how you feel, Deathloop is probably not for you.
Yeah.
Because that is what this game is really in a nutshell. It's a new take on Dishonored where people like me who really fell off because of the consequences for your actions are encouraged to just replay these 4 zones over and over again because there's no consequences.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fun. You know what I mean? But otherwise, they're very similar. I like Dishonored 2's world more, but Deathloop is easier for me to sit down, enjoy, and not worry about everything like Dishonored was.
Yeah.
I have a lot more to talk about. Before I get into more of the stuff I've been playing, what have you been playing, my broseph?
So I briefly have been going back and finishing off the last few things I have to do in Pokemon Sword. So
weird. I thought you finished that game like 3 years ago or 2 years ago.
No. I got to the elite or whatever, you know how every Pokemon game ends with like you facing the Elite 4 or 5 or whatever. So I stopped there just because it was so repetitive, man. I was just had better things to do. But so I've been trying to play a couple matches each night. So now I'm at like that final adventure part where I haven't fought the champion. There's like a world ending event happening, so I'm trying to keep that from going on. But I've only been playing for like 20 minutes a night, so hopefully I'm getting closer to the end. But I want to try to finish this before the Diamond and Pearl come out. Because
are you gonna pick those up?
Yeah. I'd like to. I enjoyed those games when they released originally, so I figure why not.
Don't you find this combat though to be really boring over time? That's
is
why
really
I couldn't
boring.
finish Sword.
Yeah,
I like it, but
I guess what I've enjoyed is going back and I guess revisiting. It's the nostalgia, but I mean the nostalgia gets really old really quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to pick up Brilliant Diamond. I mean, we'll see. I say I'm not going to pick up a lot of stuff, and then I end up getting it. But, I mean, I'm excited for Legends of Arceus, if it actually is half as good as it looks like it could be. But, yeah, man, I just feel so detached from that series. I feel like I've tried every few titles to pick it up since the first one that I loved when I was a kid, and I just hate the combat. I hate how slow everything is. I hate how little everything has changed, how few improvements they've made for a game that's literally over 20 years old now. It's what is it? Yeah, it's probably it's 25, more than 25 years here.
I want to say it was like 1997, 96, 97 when that first one came out.
So we got it later than Japan did, but I want to say, oh, wow. Okay. According to the internet, which has never been wrong before, which is, yeah, I knew it. That was totally wrong. The first screen showed me 1998, but Pocket Monsters Red and Green was in Japan in 96.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it was a 98 game here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do have fond memories, but I also think that, like, for you and I, like, as gamers, like, our tastes have evolved in terms of like RPGs. Like we're Final Fantasy has just gotten better and better with each release, right? Like, or not, maybe not story wise, but as far as like graphically how it looks and the mechanics added in. But so I think that
every game besides 13, I would have to disagree with you on 13 just because I hated that combat system.
Yeah, I feel the same, but what I'm trying to say is that like our expectations for like these types of games have like keep going up, and I think Pokemon is just very slow to kind of grab onto those trends, and in that world it feels like nothing has any consequences. Like even the villains are like happy, and like, oh, we're gonna be friends after you defeat me in a Pokemon battle. Like there's no consequences happening in there, and I think that's what kind of turns me off of those games sometimes.
Okay. You been playing anything else? It's just so funny because we did talk about... No, we never talked about Sword on the old podcast because that was between the two break periods.
Yeah. So I've been playing Artful Escape.
I turned that on. I played about the first 40, probably 30 minutes of it because I didn't even get to the interesting bits.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm about... I want to say I'm an hour and a half in right now. I don't know how long the game actually is, but...
I want to say it's 2 hours.
Okay, yeah, because you do 3 performances, and I'm like halfway through the second performance. But anyways, it's a very existential game. Like you play as this kid who's he lives in the I don't know, it might be a fictional town in Colorado called Calypso, and it's you're the nephew of a folk singer, and this whole town is like relying on you to be this folk to carry on the legacy of your uncle, right? Because the uncle's folk music brings in tourism, so everyone's like relying on this kid, but this kid doesn't want to be a folk musician. He wants to be this
rock.
He wants operatic rock or whatever. It's kind of like Hendrix style music. That's what he wants to play.
I heard it being more related to like David Bowie. Is what a lot of people said.
Yeah, exactly. The Major Tom style stuff. But yeah, so you're that, and so you're this whole like town of Calypso. It's very beautiful. Like it's very calming walking around this town, talking to people. The animation style is kind of cool. It's a little more. I don't know what you call it. It's a
2D walking sim with like a very beautiful or fluid animation style.
Yeah, it looks like your character is like a paper doll, except there's no strings, which is kind of an interesting, way of doing a game like this. But yeah, it's fun. The Calypso is very beautiful, and then once you get through all this stuff, an alien shows up and he takes you off to space, and you meet Gordon Lightman, who's this intergalactic rock star. And he kind of sets you on your path to like trying to figure out who you are and what you want to do with your life. And I love that it's relatable in the fact that like this kid is trying to figure out who he is and who he wants to be.
I feel like that's a lot of stories from the people make games, because that's a lot of our stories. Like that's just the story of the millennial, if you will, the 20s to the mid 20s to late 30s, honestly, is this weird story of like, hey, we're all trying to figure out this thing. And everybody is still, even older than that. Did you get to the psychedelic level in Psychonauts 2?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's what that name reminded me of. Gordon Lightfoot or whatever you just said.
Yeah, Gordon Lightman. Yeah, so he's like this intergalactic rock star, or interdimensional rock star, I guess you could say. But so the game is mostly like, it's very beautiful. You're walking along all these like cool different dimensions, and you can kind of hold X down. So as you're walking and running and jumping, you're like launching these guitar riffs everywhere and making the whole environments light up. One thing that it does have that is frustrating is this you know how Guitar Hero has the circles at the bottom and you got to try to match the patterns?
Yeah.
So in this one, the patterns are the buttons on the Xbox controller. So you have like your X, Y, B, and then the two triggers on the top. And you have to, when you go to these shows and you have these I don't want to call them enemy types, but they're like people who you're trying to impress, and they have like it's somewhere on their body is the pattern for the buttons, and you have to match the pattern. And sometimes it moves too fast for me to understand. So I've spent some time trying to get past some of these foes. But I've
heard the gameplay is the worst part of that game.
Yeah, exactly. Like those parts are the most frustrating. But other than that, like I love just walking around. Like I like those style of games, and this game is one that I do plan on finishing. But yeah, that element is the only thing that frustrates me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll ever get into it. It looked really neat. A lot of people are talking about how much they like it. If there's ever one of those Microsoft rewards quests where if you get up to 10,000 rewards points for doing achievements, I might play it, because I did get to the house and it was like 75 achievement points. I was like, oh, This is one of those, like, once you do anything, they give you a ton of achievement points style games.
Yeah, I got 100 just for, like, getting to the spaceship.
So I'll try to get into it then. There were so many Game Pass games that dropped this last week. I haven't even got a chance to turn on many of them. I Am Fish, Skatebird, there's Flynn or something. There's tons of stuff, and then Sable comes out tomorrow. A lot of other stuff. So there's so many games releasing.
Yeah.
Before I get into what I've spent most of my time with, I do want to talk about two other things. I mentioned WarioWare Get Together last week. I 100% of that title.
Oh, dude, nice.
I got to all the mini games. Yeah, it only was an extra hour. It wasn't very much time. So the whole game took me about 4.5, 5 hours, maybe tops. It's fun. It's hard to recommend. $50 for a game that is probably the most uneven WarioWare I've ever played. Yeah, I really right now what's going on in my head is I'm fighting myself whether I want the collector side of me that just wants to keep it because it's a Nintendo title, and the frugal side of me that just wants to sell it because I know I'm never going to touch it again. You know, so it's weird.
It came out at a $40 price point, so I don't imagine
50.
it's going 50. So I mean, it's not like a $60 title, which you know is going to like stay at $60 for a long time. So I mean, the choice is yours, man.
I think it will hold its. I think it's going to hold its value, but at the same time, it's like I don't know if it's going to hold its value in the used market because it's so short. I can imagine a lot of people flip this thing. You know, like they pick it up because it sounds super fun. They realize like, oh, they found all the mini games. What else are they going to do with it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's a Mario Odyssey or Zelda Breath of the Wild, though. It's not even close to being one of those.
It's a bummer. Yeah, it's a bummer because I love the WarioWare series. I do think they're that great. I think if it was a bigger title, I wouldn't even hesitate to just keep it because I love how crazy and fun that series is.
Yeah.
But it honestly felt like an iPhone game that they sold for $50. Like even the way you move up the map, it's just like you go up the simple Mario 3 style map where you can choose left or right, and then you go up, and then you choose left or right, and then you can go up the middle. And it's just so boring on the outside. But once you play the micro games, they're really great. However, like I mentioned last week, the controlling of the characters, them all being uneven, the fact that you can upgrade them, but it does nothing. There's just so little to go back to. Like I said, I'll probably get rid of it. I hate selling games. I got to like package them and do all those things. But this is something where it's like, hey, I got my value out of it. I got, probably will cost me $10. Got the $10, out of it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I also picked up Eastward. I picked that up, actually. I pre-ordered that one a while ago. I don't know if you remember the Nintendo Indie Showcase, whatever they did. The day the Axiom Verge 2 released, we talked about it on the podcast. This was in August, I want to say.
Eastward.
Yeah. Anyways, if you remember the Nintendo Indie Direct where they did the Indie World Showcase where they did Axiom Verge 2, it stealth dropped. The end of that showcase had a game called Eastward.
I remember this.
And it is so beautiful, man. It is so cool. It pains me that it came out at this time because honestly, I think there's a lot there. It's not a very in-depth game, so it needed to come out at a time where I had less to play because it is really just cool to look at. Like every time anything happens, I enjoy it. The combat itself is very Zelda-like. It's really simple, just kind of hit stuff, top-down Zelda-like. But all the characters are so unique, and the story is interesting enough that I want to get deep into it. That being said, I will discuss my first, 2 hours or so with the game, which has been nothing other than just, it's sublime. It's so cool. Like you look at it, it looks like Earthbound. It looks like all these things. Bummer is, unlike Earthbound, it's not an RPG. There's no leveling up as far as I can tell.
So that was going to be my question here. What do you do in this game?
So I am very early on, about 2 hours in, and so far you're the dude, the guy in the back with the jacket, and you're here like the caretaker for Sam. Something happened with her parents. I don't really know yet. You're underground at the portion I'm at. I'm not even above the ground yet. And you're just kind of doing different things. Like the first day you go to the mine, you have to kill these slugs. So you just honestly just whack a bunch of slugs. You hit Y to attack, and you just hit slugs with a frying pan. And then you have to go get your frying pan fixed so you can cook dinner, so you can take it to this other guy, and he fixes that. But it does seem like there's going to be more stuff that opens up. Like there's a shop that lets you buy stuff, and you could buy upgrades for your bombs and upgrades for your backpack. They're all fairly shallow. It's not like super in-depth. It's like, oh, you can either get more bombs or they can do more damage, and maybe you'll be able to get both at some point. But you get that through currency and stuff. So combat really isn't there to give you anything. There's no XP, any of that stuff. But it is beautiful. Like I said, the reward is really just seeing the art and experiencing it because it's just, man, it's like out of a dream. I really wish they would have decided to make this an action RPG or even a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
But the fact is they didn't. And it is fun, but I am playing Tales of Arise. We talked about this last week.
Yeah. This is one I've been curious
so much
about this.
Game.
Okay,
yeah,
so
man.
You're digging it. You're digging it.
I really dig it. I am trying to think the last time I've enjoyed a JRPG JRPG like this. Like, I liked Bravely Default 2. That was cool. This game is way more anime and stuff that I can't stand normally. But it
also
is
seems
fun.
less anime than the entries in the Tale series before it. I've been watching some videos of it. So
yeah, it's way less anime than the past.
Yeah.
But it's still like anime than like the I don't like this, tropey stuff. The characters are dumb. Dr. Donna and I were discussing it, and he shared a picture that I just love. This was a dialogue scene from earlier. You're walking around talking to this elderly guy. It says, "After working with my hands all my life, I can't hardly see nothing with these old eyes anymore." It's like the dumbest translations ever. So he said, "After working with my hands my whole life, I can't hardly see with these eyes anymore."
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of really silly things. It's really dorky. The first boss is the Lord of the Fire Master Core, and there's all that like really tropey junk in there. But dude, the combat is fun. The overall story is just fun. It's like, hey, you're pretty much like fighting to free these slaves, essentially, the people who lived here, from a totalitarian government that's taken over all these different districts.
Yeah.
And you're working together with the people to do it. But even the story, like, even if it was trash, which it's fairly enjoyable, I like it, just the combat alone with all of the stuff there is to do. There's a crafting system where if you kill enemies, they'll drop resources, and you can cook stuff when you go to bed that will give you more or a better chance to get better resources or give you more defense or whatever. There's a skill system, a skill point system that lets you upgrade different stuff that's different from your leveling system. There's also, when you use special attacks called arts, if you use them a certain amount of time, they unlock more arts, and every art has a thing that it can unlock. There's just so much to the game that every time I fought, I pretty much had fun and I got something for it. It didn't feel like those slogs where you're like, oh man, and yeah, maybe there's 5 fights in a row where I don't level up, but the fights are quick. And yeah, it's dumb. They're not on the map. You go to a screen where you fight them in, but there's really no loading on either the front or the back end. It just shows you the enemies and then you fight, and then it's immediately back to the field after you kill them. Yeah, man, it's good. I really like it. Yeah, it could be better in a lot of ways. They have a combat button remapping, but they don't have world map button remapping. They have certain things you can't remap. They've got tropey, annoying dialogue and bad translations. They've got a world that doesn't feel huge because you're pretty much walking through like 2 places to get to the next kingdom. So it doesn't feel like it's like, the Final Fantasy 13 when it opened up, or Final Fantasy 15, but it's kind of always moving. Like you think about Final Fantasy 15, I love that game, but you're on that first map for a long time. It only really starts moving quick when you leave there, and that's because they don't let you explore the second map at all. Yeah, so this is one of those games where it's just like, hey, they made a pretty linear looking Final Fantasy X like, but the gameplay and combat is just good and fun, and you could use all 6 party members, not in battle directly, but as like moves that you can use that they'll all charge up. It's cool. I haven't liked a Tales game since Symphonia launched on the GameCube in like 2003, I think was when it came out, and I liked that one. I almost finished half of it. 2004. I want to say I almost got to the second disc. It was on GameCube, and it was 2 of those mini discs. Yeah, this one is a lot better. I don't know if I'll beat it, but I'm having a blast right now. So,
yeah.
Are you thinking about getting it?
Yeah, I've been actually strongly considering it. So I almost went out today and picked it up, but
hey, if you go to Walmart, it's $10 off.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning on going. I just haven't made it over there yet. So, yeah, who knows, man? Maybe I'll grab that and I'll pick up Sonic Colors finally. I was at Target this weekend. I just they didn't have Tails, and I figured Walmart I can get Sonic for cheaper, so I didn't pick anything up. So maybe next time I'm at Walmart, I'll grab both of them.
Yeah, man. I mean, it might not be for you. There is a demo. I would definitely suggest, for anyone listening who's on the fence, try out the demo. If you hate that demo, then you're going to hate the game, because that demo is just like basic combat. But I came away from the demo really impressed because the last Tales game I had tried was Vesperia. I had like a Microsoft rewards quest to do. I can't remember what I had to do. I had to do something in Vesperia, and I hated it. I hated it so much. I did not want to play a minute of Tales of Vesperia.
I played whatever the last was. Was Vesperia the last one?
That's the one that's on Game Pass right now.
Okay,
it's not the last one. The last one was like Berseria or Berseria.
Okay,
and that was the one we made fun of when we started the podcast. That game is that game was only on PS4. Yeah, PS4.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Amazon. So I did play Vesperia on Games Pass, and I enjoyed the first couple hours with it, but I didn't play anything past that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say other than like it is, and this one's blown up, dude. It sold like 1 million copies in its week or whatever. So it's neat. I would say if you have any interest, even an inkling, check it out. And if you don't like it, whatever. You downloaded a demo. It's 4 gigabytes.
All right.
If you do like it, it is probably the closest thing to a big budget, full-scale JRPG that's going to come out this year. The next closest game is Scarlet Nexus, and I just think this game is a lot better looking and more fun. And I liked the Scarlet Nexus demo. I almost picked that game up just because I liked that demo so much.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah, man. We can just go into the news if there is any. You want to talk about something, the Halo test multiplayer?
So all there really is, they just announced that you can join.
I got the email.
Yeah, you can join the Halo multiplayer. I don't want to say it's a beta. It's just like a weekend test. You can jump in. It's going to start this Friday, but it's only if you were part of the Halo insiders who registered before September 13th. I think emails will be sent out to players to know if they're eligible. So I think you said you got one. I never got one, but
did you sign up and go through all those steps?
No. So
okay,
maybe
you have to do that. So
register.
you got to do it. It's not like long, but it's not just like enter your email, you're done. You have to sign up for Halo Waypoint and do all these other things. Anyways, I just got the email today. So it sounds like they're going to send me another email this coming weekend, which is terrible because I am like super booked this weekend.
Yeah.
And the following weekend, they are going to have the test data stuff. I'm going to hopefully jump in, for a few matches. We'll see how much or how long it runs. Like, I don't know if it's timed. There's a lot I don't know, but we'll talk about it here. If I get in, I would say, sign up. But it's one of those things where it's like you're not missing much. I'm going to go in there and check it out just to see how it plays, but like I'm not super excited if I'm being honest with you. It's like this is a limited time beta. Like
right.
I'm more excited for when Halo comes out. I'm actually more excited for the single player. Like I love Halo multiplayer, but
it's been a while, man, since I've been into Halo multiplayer. I remember the heyday, playing with people, and I loved it, but someone who doesn't really play a lot of multiplayer these days, I'm more excited about the single player campaign.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's just good. I'm hoping it comes out, man. I have really dude, let's see the IGN review of Kenna Bridge of Spirits launched. So I guess they didn't have to wait till the game came out. Let's see what the score is. Dude, it got an 8.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, so all the people worried or whatever, and that's honestly what I was thinking it would actually get is kind of those higher range. That's why the 4, I was like, that's weird. Yeah, it is. You do have to wonder if the same problem you posed with Deathloop is happening here, where it's like a Sony bump.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a few 10s that I'm looking at on Metacritic, and there's a lot of 9s. But again, it's pushing someone like me to want to play it now and go and pick it up. You know what I mean? So it's
I know. I kind of want to download it tomorrow.
Yeah, I would like to as well. The problem is I got Deathloop and I got all this other stuff. I'm never going to get to play it, but it is totally the type of game I like to play. People are saying it's like the N64 GameCube era of Zelda, Okami, and Star Fox Adventures. And I loved that stuff. I absolutely loved those games. Are they the best ever? No, but I'd be down to play them again. You know what I mean? So
it kind of reminds me of Cameo a little bit. I think what was like intriguing me about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like, but thankfully, for the sake of it, it sounds like it's more like a 3D style Zelda than it is Cameo. I did not like Cameo. Like, I didn't think it sucked, but I didn't play it when it came out, so I tried going back to it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was
doesn't
hold
up well. Yeah, I remember enjoying it, back when it came out, but I don't think I could go back and play it.
Well, yeah, I mean, tangent real quick. Like, that game, it would have been better as a collectathon thing than what it is, which is like some weird linear go through places, solve something, get something, like it has all the makings of like a Metroid 3D Banjo-Kazooie collectathon hybrid where you're getting new abilities and accessing new zones. But not only did all the abilities feel really shallow, but they didn't really, in my experience, which was very short-lived, it's not like I can go back to the old zone and use new ability to do something further. It's just like, go to the next zone where you're now going to need all 4 of those abilities. That's what I saw. You beat it. I don't know if it's that way.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. The abilities are hard to use, and it's hard to know when to use them. So I wasn't really, back when I played it, I wasn't really the stick with it type of person. So I never finished the game, but I do remember like having fun, a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I have like no hope that that Cameo will ever come back, and it bums me out. I was so excited for that game when it was an N64 title and they showed it back in the day, and by the time it came out on 360, or actually no, I feel like I first saw it on the original Xbox was when I first saw the tease.
Yeah.
By the time it came out on 360, it was not the title I wanted to play. But anyways, yeah, hopefully we'll have more stuff to talk about next week. There's like really no news, honestly. But yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff for you to play. I'm digging Tales, but Tales, I feel like the problem for you is you always choose these big, long titles, and Tales is the longest of the titles we've talked about. Deathloop's like supposed to be 14 hours. Eastward's long too, but Kenna's 20-hour title. Tales is like 50 hours. So
yeah, it's I don't know, man. Like I like those longer games. Like I like investing my time and things like that.
I know. My bro, you got anything to say before we hit the road?
No, that's it, man. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more news to chat about here next time.
It's weird. Till the Game Awards, I feel like this is a pretty dry time. However, the Tokyo Game Show starts at the end of September, so we might get some stuff there. But we'll see.
Yeah, and that's coming up right around the corner, and I think Microsoft has some stuff going on there.
Yeah, Dr. Donna said Microsoft already announced they aren't announcing anything new. So we'll see what this means for everybody. But that will be for another day, my man. Anyways, we got to get back to gaming and doing all those sweet things we love. Word to your mother.
Peace.
Oh, yeah.